Content warnings for this video game are listed in the podcast description.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Safe Room, a survival horror game club podcast, or book club podcast. Anyway, I'm Grace, and I'm with my co-host, Rose.
Hello. Silent
Hi.
Hill.
Yeah, we're talking about Silent Hill 3. It's the third one.
We're having a Silent Hill day today.
I mean, not really. I get on my end, it's all like, we both had weird days. And on my end, it's all like medical bills and such.
I'm sick with probably COVID, and there's raining. There's a hurricane, so.
Oh, right. God. Well,
Yeah.
that is closer, I think, to the Silent Hill vibe.
Those are the vibes today.
So I don't know.
This is gonna be a weird one. Sorry.
But yeah, we played Silent Hill 3. And surprise, surprise, it's good. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I think this is way more of a Grace game than it is a Rose game, I think.
I think that's probably true. The other thing I was gonna say is that I literally beat the game 30 minutes ago.
I watched the walkthrough and finished it 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, so this is just to say, these are hot takes, like quite, literally, and so, that is perilous in some ways. So yeah, were you? I don't know. Were you more middling on it, or sort of?
I think so. I think everything before the Harry death scene, I was into, and then once it became about Silent Hill, it just lost me like a lot. It kind of got me back with the stuff at the end with what's his face? What's his
Vincent?
name? Vincent. How could I forget? All the Vincent and Claudia stuff is good, I think. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely in agreement there.
But I felt like a lot of it was kind of wasted potential because they had to make a sequel to Silent Hill 1. And I don't find that compelling.
Yeah, see, I guess I kind of feel like, because that was actually my big worry going into this, was because 2 kind of takes it off in a different direction. And 3 is kind of attempt to like reconcile 1 and 2, basically. Like aesthetically as well as like in terms of like how does the Silent Hill in 2 also exist alongside the Silent Hill that's in 1?
Yeah.
And
to the point where like when you get to the bar, I'm like, this is not this game. Get this out of here. What the fuck? This is not the same world. You stop lying to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I like that stuff just because I think the idea of like something happens in Silent Hill 17 years ago, and then it sort of breaks, and there's all this sort of like psychic wreckage. I mean, I guess this is kind of like a Stephen King idea too. There's all this like,
they read Stephen King.
Yeah, they did. And so entering Silent Hill like changes your perspective, and so the reality of the sort of cult stuff is also called into question a couple times, or like what exactly is this, just like Claudia's psychic residue, basically,
Right.
Although Vincent says that, and Vincent is definitely full of shit. So
he's full of shit. That scene is a debate, still hotly contested, and it's fucking Vincent. What are you talking about? Clearly, he's bullshitting.
Yeah, well, I loved the bit where he's like, "You enjoy the killing."
Yes,
So, it's so funny.
so funny.
Yeah,
but he's
'cause
also like they're monsters to you,
yeah.
which is like one. It's his religion, so of course he would say that. But
Yeah.
also,
No, but I just he's just it's so funny that he's like nominally on Heather's side and is just constantly antagonizing her because he just can't help himself. He's a messy bitch who loves drama.
yeah, no. The last scene with him sold me on him as a character, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we've kind of gone over some general feelings. So basically the plot of this game is it picks up 17 years after Silent Hill 1. The baby at the end of Silent Hill 1 is now a teenage girl who, is hanging out at the mall and stuff.
Like,
and yeah,
you
and
know,
this
the cafe inside of the mall where you wake up from.
right, because you were sleeping. You had your Silent Hill dream. Because the game opens and you're in a little, like, I think, does 2 have a similar thing as well? Am I making this up? No.
You start...
1 has a similar thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And how far did you get in that level, by the way?
In the mall?
No, in the amusement park.
Oh, I don't know. I got 3 or 4 rooms in.
Okay.
I think beyond the...
Yeah, because so the way it goes, like you can just die in the first room and then the game will progress.
Right.
Or you can get up to where the roller coaster is and then same thing happens. It cuts to
right.
Her,
I think I got close to where the roller coaster is, and then there were like 5 or 6 enemies that just all murdered me, or something. Yeah. Because went inside the little shop,
Yeah.
and saw all the... I thought the bunny would be more involved. Maybe that's just because there's merch.
Yes.
But there's just it's just bunny.
It's just funny.
Anyway, and so she has this dream about the amusement park, about the Silent Hill amusement park. Wakes up. She meets this private eye guy, Douglas. Mm-hmm. And Douglas is like, "Hey, I want to talk to your dad." And Heather's like...
And Douglas, they pulled him straight out of that PS1 CD era voice acting. It's kind of incredible.
It's great. I love Douglas.
The entire time I'm like, this has to be on purpose. This is too bad not to be on purpose.
And then he...
Which
and
I
then
should
she's
say,
like,
sorry. The HD version, they redubbed it, and I need to go back and listen to it.
Oh, yeah, because...
terrible.
This is the thing is... This is a kind of a similar thing to Silent Hill 2, I think particularly with Heather's performance, where I was at first like, huh? And then by the end I was like, oh, no, this is actually great. Like, this feels intentional the whole time, right? And it has a sort of idiosyncratic quality that I think would be really hard to direct in a voice acting studio now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and so I would be very curious. It's got to be better than Troy Baker, right? Right?
It's gotta be. I don't know what the cast. I don't know what the cast is.
Yeah.
But I will look into that.
Yeah. Anyway, so she goes into, and this is actually one of my favorite bits of just like horror in the game. Is she goes in the bathroom to hide from this private eye guy and climbs out the window.
Yep.
And then she goes through the alley, turns back into the mall, and then she's in Silent Hill, basically. Yep. She opens the door and there's beasties and it's Silent Hill time now. And like that is sick.
There's a van parked in the
right,
alley,
yeah.
And she's like, how the fuck does this get here?
Yeah. I think this is the funniest Silent Hill game, and I don't mean that in I think in an intentional way. I think it is funny. And I think Heather is like a big part of making that work. But
sure.
Yeah, it's just, it's good stuff. Anyway, so turning into the mall, and then basically she finds out that, she begins to remember, because she has all these repressed memories, that she was this child from Silent Hill, and that she lived like a whole other life as this other woman, Alyssa and Claudia, who's like this, priestess lady is trying to resurrect God or birth God, like, that was the goal in number 1.
Yep.
And so she kind of keeps getting pulled. She's trying to get home, and goes through the subway and an office building and stuff, but keeps getting pulled into kind of this other world and causing her trouble. She gets home. Her dad is dead. And this is sort of the thing, is the game is pretty coy that it's a sequel to Silent Hill 1 for the first little while.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could pick up on it pretty quick. But it doesn't like state it outright. And then you go home and bloody Perry Mason from the first game is sitting on the couch, right? So that it's like, oh, okay.
Can I put a pause on this real quick?
Yes.
The dub voice for Heather Mason in the HD collection is the current voice for Rei Ayanami.
Oh, okay, sure.
I want to go back and listen to that now.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wow, that's wild. Are you okay? I guess it's chaos episode. So are you an original dub person, or are you a new dub person, or is that a distinct? Or is everybody an old dub person and nobody likes a new dub?
For Silent Hill?
No, for Evangelion.
Oh, I just mean that she's both. Like she did the original Rei Ayanami voice, and she's in the rebuilds.
Oh, right, but she's not in that.
I am excluding Netflix from this.
Oh, okay.
I just mean rebuilds, like current, like.
Right. Okay. Stuff. I got you. I understand what you mean now. Okay, that answers my question. All right. If I ever get around to Evangelion, then I'll probably watch that original dub. Yeah. Anyway, and so she realizes that she has to go back to Silent Hill. Douglas shows up again and drives her there. And, and it's kind of on the drive there that she kind of gives the whole spiel about what the deal with Silent Hill was, basically recites the plot of 1,
She remembers now.
Yeah. And so, and then it's kind of like Silent Hill stuff. She goes to the hospital again. There's hospital stuff. We can kind of talk about that as that comes up. I think nothing really plot relevant, except, well, you kill Claudia's dad, who's like a monster. And she's upset about that. And also Vincent has shown up at this point, and he's like, believes in the same god as Claudia, but is in some way oppositional, and like leads her to go kill Leonor, who's Claudia's dad. And so they're starting to fight, and then she goes to like the amusement park, which leads down into this big chapel network. And kind of, this is sort of where like all her identities kind of start to converge. She begins to like speak as Alyssa and like visit places that she was as a kid and remember things about being there. Right. Anyway, she goes in to like the deepest level of the chapel, and Vincent and Claudia are there fighting, and Claudia fucking stabs Vincent in the back, and then
get hit.
Yeah.
saw that coming from a mile away.
Well, yeah, he's literally like, why
he's
did
like
you kill
literally
me?
Like kill this bitch. Fucking get it over with.
Yeah, he turns his back to her. What a moron.
What a moron. I mean, listen, when you're Joker-fied, nothing matters.
Yeah. Anyway, and then Heather starts to give birth to God.
Mm-hmm.
And remembers that her dad gave her like this necklace, and inside of it there's like a Plan B pill, basically.
Yeah.
And so she takes that and then like throws up this like, I guess, fetus or something, right?
Yep.
Which Claudia then eats.
Yep.
And becomes God.
That's how it
and
works.
then you fight her, and
this is what being pro-life is.
Yeah. And then you win the game and you go home with Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what happens.
Or you play the game the second time and you kill Douglas.
Yeah, which is so funny because the bit where so the literal ending is, so Douglas's leg is broken, and that's why he's not with her at the end, going through the church and stuff. And so she comes up to him and he's like, is it over? And she's like, not yet, because you're still alive. Like, pulls out her pocket knife. And he's like, ah. And she's like, I got you. And it got me too. Heather got me too. I was like, yeah. I think it's good. I think that stuff is good.
We're missing a key part.
Oh, we're missing a key part.
Because Heather is like, call me by my real name, actually.
Yes. Call me Cheryl.
Don't call me by my dead name.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. She has like 3 dead names.
That's what I was just like.
Well,
your dad called you Heather.
Yeah.
She cries for her dead dad after killing the final boss. And then she's like, who's that bitch? I don't know her.
Well, I mean, it's like originally, that's like the original name that she had when she was with him.
Know that.
There's a diary entry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe this is the video game thing. But yeah, there's a part. And this is actually really cool. Is you find like notepads from Silent Hill 1, and then you can like read Harry's innermost thoughts.
Yes.
And I think there's some fun ambiguity about that too. That it's like, well, did Harry actually just like write and leave this in this room, or is she, experiencing some like psychic link to him, or is this just something she's making up, or whatever. That's a fun little thing.
Yeah. Which she has much more personality than the other 2 protagonists, which is nice. It's hit or miss for me, but I think that's because there's so much more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the cutscenes where she like looks directly in the camera and makes a Silent Hill reference, maybe.
Well, so also those are not in the game if you don't have a Silent Hill 2 save on your thing, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this is what this. So I shouted it out before we started recording, but I used a SilentHillMemories.net guide, and it was great, and it points out it, like there's like a little section in the unlockable secrets. It's just like every time there's a Silent Hill 2 reference that and apparently none of them show up if you don't have the save on your memory card.
Weird. Even the Maria Night thing.
I assume that the club is there, but like the part
I
where...
just mean the flyer on the table.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it says so. According to this, it says if you have a completed save of Silent Hill 2 on your memory card, you can experience up to 4 extra scenes or comments referencing the game, and the poster is apparently one of them. So I assume the club is there, but the poster may not be, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So I did also laugh at so there's this clogged toilet, and so the game's like, do you want to reach in and unclog it? And I'm like, yes, this is Silent Hill. I have to unclog the toilet. And then she turns to the camera and it's like, who would ever do something so disgusting? Right.
If she just didn't do it, it would have been enough for me. But
yeah. But they gotta lean in.
Yeah. They leaned in.
But yeah. Well, because I was just fully in the like Silent Hill 2 brain. I was like, I'm probably gonna do this like 5 times.
Yeah.
It's like key.
Yeah. But then she's also like, it's time to roll credits because I beat the boss battle.
Yes. Well, I think, okay, so I do think something about that is, like, there's kind of a glibness to that. And I think also the ending is supposed to be, like, a little... There's sort of an implication that, and it's, it's not really known how this is, like, gonna shake out, right? But there's, like, open question of, like, can Cheryl / Heather / Alyssa, like, remain alive?
Yes.
And the god... die? Like, are they sort of connected in some way that like transcends, because like Harry already killed God and apparently things are still hanging around, So yeah, so I think there is I understand being like the meta stuff.
And the thing that saves that for me is that after she says that, she immediately cries about her dad, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there's sort of the game is kind of, I mean, as much as it's like a little bit silly to frame it this way, but like that she's a person who is like experiencing things,
and it also like is about like cycles of abuse in that sort of way. So it works from that angle as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I wish they leaned more into her relationship with Harry, just because don't see a ton of that outside of the diary entries.
No, and I guess I also thought that for some reason I was kind of under the impression that there was more like, Harry was kind of a bad father stuff, and that's not in the game. I mean, there's some like, should he have taken her from Silent Hill is like kind of a question that gets brought up a couple times, right? But generally it's kind of like, and there's also sort of a diary entry that he has where he's like he had moments where it was like, it would just be better if I didn't do that. Yeah, if I killed her even, right? But it doesn't...
But overall, it seemed like a healthy relationship.
Yeah, and it doesn't really seem to imply there that, like, he did anything, to her, right?
Which is weird because, like, which is, like, the whole thing with, oh my god, character name. What's the name of the priest girl? What's her
Claudia.
Name? Claudia. The thing with her dad is, like, he was, like, abusive. In the service of like this religion, but I mean, the game doesn't do much with that at all. Or, like,
no, it's just it's a way Vincent taunts her with it, right? And there's also kind of like why are you sad about your dad dying, like, and I think sort of the like interfaith struggle stuff is I think like rightfully kind of light. In the game, but I think like works. I think also like there's the did you listen to the cassette that Vincent has?
Yes.
And like that thing where it's like there's been like a community of believers in Silent Hill this whole time, and like what is that like? Is such a great like thing to leave open, Right.
Yeah. For me, I just wish those two threads were tied closer together, just because like 2 was such a thematic, like very tightly written script, and you just see the places where they made compromises because Konami said make Silent Hill 1. Which is fine. Like, I think for the most part it works okay. It's just it's not as clean or as like evocative for me as 2 was.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, finish your thought. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, not every game has to be Silent Hill 2, but
yeah, I think that is sort of the. I think so I agree that it's not as clean, but I think that kind of works to make it more evocative for me. And maybe part of it is I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. Like you're gonna yell at me for making this comparison, but I thought a little bit about the Matrix Resurrections playing this, and just in the way that it's pretty concerned with like making Silent Hill 1 matter in a way that it's like, even though it's kind of like in some way the story is like the stakes are reset, right, that it's like, we're back in Silent Hill and we have to stop God from being birthed, and like, and there's this woman, right, who's the engineer of all this stuff, right, yada yada yada, but it's like the events of Silent Hill 1 have all these like tangible and important psychological effects on all the principal characters, right? And part of it is that like Vincent has come into power as like a pastor in this religious community in that time, right? In those 17 years. And that's why it's this conflict with Claudia, who wants to like reset things or like, and she has been like waiting for something that never happened for a long time, right? And then also, Heather's been off living this other life and like being a normal person, and then has to get like dragged into this thing that she doesn't even remember, right? And the thing is that like you feel the weight of that past story in a way that I think a lot of sequels would just not care to do, or would just be more content to just like, here are the thrills again, Whereas I think this is pretty like, trying to do something different, at least within that framework, you know?
Yeah, it sells it pretty well too with Heather because like her reaction as a character, at least at first, is just like, I'm just I'm in a mall. Leave me alone.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna go home to my
I-
father. Please
right.
leave me alone.
Yeah, I want to get a pretzel and, you know, and buy a new skirt and whatever.
The part where you're walking around and she's like, "Yeah, these are nice clothes, but I'm in Silent Hill right now." So
Yes. Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Also, a gameplay thing that I appreciated was when you get an item before you encounter the puzzle, Heather goes, "Oh yeah, this item I have will help with that." Bless you, Silent Hill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, do we want to? The thing is, I think gameplay wise, there's not actually that much to talk about. It's kind of it's Silent Hill.
It feels more refined than Silent Hill 2 slightly.
Yeah.
The menu is really good.
Yes, it is really good because you don't have to, because it's separated into 3 sections.
Yeah.
And so you know where everything is. Yeah, I agree. And then
tell me about William Shakespeare.
I gotta solve a puzzle. Gotta put those books together. Although I do think it's cool that like on the hard level, there's like a whole poem, and it like
so
has all these
funny.
references to Shakespeare. So you have to like know like what Othello is to be able to like. Yeah, I think that's actually. I think the hard level puzzles like relying on some like cultural stuff. I think that's a fun idea. You know, where it's like, I mean, yeah, I didn't. You know, I played the puzzles on normal because I wanted to beat this game. In the 5 hours a lot of time. Yeah, it took me 5, by the way. I mean, you watched it Let's Play, so it's not relevant to you, but 5 hours is about. And it says 6 on how long to beat, so
There you
I was
go.
a little ahead.
Yeah. The scene where you find Harry's body. That shit's good.
Yeah. It's oh, go ahead.
My
Sorry.
one nitpick with this, and this is the whole game. This isn't just this scene.
Right.
Whenever there's a dramatic scene, it becomes the chill beats to study 2 music. And it was a little distracting.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Although I do think generally the music in this game is
It's
very
good.
good. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the moment it's used so sparingly in Silent Hill 2, but it's just the mode of operation here that I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
the beat doesn't have to kick in for this moment.
Right. I do love the track that plays when you and Douglas are driving to Silent Hill.
It's
That's
good.
like,
Yes,
that's
it's
a
so good.
great track. Yeah.
The best Silent Hill OP in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think
Just
that's probably yeah.
A fun fact: it is sung by the dub voice of the Major in Standalone Complex, Elizabeth Quinn.
Ooh.
So she sings. They knocked out a love song. They knocked out a catchy love song, but because it's a Silent Hill game, the guitars are like 10% more distorted and fucked up than it would usually be. If
Yeah.
it's just a love song, and it's fucking good. It's my shit. It's so good.
Yeah. It's yeah. Oh, I think also sort of the way like the music. I mean, this is kind of excluding the end credits tune, but like the vocal music in it, the pop music, I guess.
Yeah.
Is like the song that plays when you and Douglas are driving in the car. The last line is like, "We are on this earth to feel joy," right?
Yeah.
But it's said in like this dread whisper. And it's like, like, it's just really like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And that's sort of the thing. I think I don't know, there is a little bit of kind of the one anime plot here too, because Claudia is like, I want to make the world new and everyone is going to be fine, and, and like there will be no suffering anymore. But I think like the way, I think sort of there's sort of, I mean, this is also kind of a Stephen King-y thing, actually. The way that they're sort of like, we don't really know if Claudia knows what she's doing, right? Is she like summoning something does she know what's up with this guy? You know, does she really know like who this person is and like what this god is like represents, right? And like that's good stuff.
That's the striking thing with those last few scenes too, where Vincent is just like kind of calling her out on her bullshit, just being like, the world you want sucks, actually.
Yeah.
Also I built this church. I funded it.
Yes. Yeah. About? Which
that's so good. And also when Heather like pukes up the fetus, she's like, I don't even know what is that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the god that you wanted to make. What do you mean?
Yes. Yeah. And then also just like, I also love that Heather's just like, all right, time to knock a bitch out, and just like about to stomp on it. That's like so good, you know.
The way she's like, yeah, my dad killed God. What?
Yeah.
So it's probably no big deal.
Yeah. Like I think her sort of like the way that she is both like embodies this stuff, right, and also has this like this cavalierness about it, or sort of like, you know, there's also the scene with Leonard, because that's a boss battle, and she like goes into the like weird sewer where he is, which is also a great cutscene, like very well. Yep. Yeah, this is also the thing is I just don't know how they did it. They just unlocked the cheat code for like doing fucking great cutscenes. Even with having orders from Konami, they still care about craft in a way that's so admirable. Yeah, well, it's just so like I don't understand. Like these are some of the most influential games ever made, and nobody is like, let's think about how Silent Hill like frames shots. Nobody thinks about this somehow. And I mean, let's cut to inanimate objects that are evocative. Yeah, just because. Right. Like, you don't interact with that like spirally thing, but it's there and it's fucking cool. Yeah. Or like yeah, because there's all those weird gears in the background. Right. Or and also the cuts to like the Leonard's back, which is all like kind of gilly and stuff. It's like breathing in and out. And it's just really creepy in this way. And I was thinking a little bit about how like goofy some of this stuff would be if it was in a movie. Like, you know, like if Heather's like, I got a katana and I'm slashing up this weird doll god. Well, guess what? Silent Hill 3D. I mean, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Is that the movie probably just does that? And it's like, what are you doing? You know, and it just works different. It's not the same medium, right? Like, you can't put on Heather's outfit in real life. It looks corny. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. And this is like one of the things that's like so weird about, and I guess it's good that Last of Us is the thing that's getting this treatment, because that already wants to be like a HBO miniseries. That is like what it is aspiring to. But I just think so much about The Last of Us during this. Especially that scene with Harry. Because he's fucking destroyed. Yeah. He is not a person when she shows up. Yeah, God. I also love the when because they just put a sheet over him. Yeah, with flowers. And Douglas is like, is this what you want to do? You know? And she's like, there's nobody here. Like, what am I supposed to, like, that she's just like so alone. Right? And that's just like, that's fucking brutal. It's great. Like, and that's sort of the thing is, I think like, it's that like the thing that makes Silent Hill work is kind of this accumulation of effects, right? Yes. That is pretty unique to games. And I'm not saying you can't. I think you can make a great Silent Hill movie. I think in fact it would be easy to. Yes. If you have a director like Worth Their Salt, and maybe that first one's fine. I've heard like people like that first one. Okay, it depends on who you ask. You know, it's kind of, I feel similarly in that I kind of like the first half of it, and then it turns into Silent Hill 1. Right. Yeah. So that's sort of, but it's kind of this accumulation of effects, and so I think it's like, I don't know, and just somehow, I guess, and we're going to see, and maybe, you know, we'll play Siren. I guess I'm curious, this is part of like an ongoing question of the Safe Room project, is like, do people learn the lessons from Silent Hill, or like what are they sort of taking from it, and like how is, because I just think that's such a like, it feels like a game that is simultaneously monumental and completely forgotten, and that's such a like
also,
weird
like,
thing.
Silent Hill didn't remember the lessons from Silent Hill, and I know
Right?
that
Yeah.
like, I know the HD collection, like there's a billion variables, like they didn't fucking give the, you know, they gave it to a weird dev and they didn't give them money, they didn't fucking pay him or give them any time.
Right.
But also, you fucking see Harry's whole ass character model in that HD version,
Right. Yeah. No,
and
it's
you barely see any of him here. He is just covered in blood. You see like maybe part of his face, but like he is
yeah.
indistinguishable.
Yeah.
It's so brutal.
Yeah, well, and that's part of what like makes it. I mean, yeah, that's part of what makes the horror work, right? Is the sort of like. I also like that. I like that he's kind of a.
I love that they modeled him, and they were just like, we can't show his face.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
Yeah. Well, and the do they? It's like because they take the film grain out, right? Too, in HD, I assume.
I assume
maybe you can turn it off. I don't know if it's like taken out.
Yeah, I associate that with 2 because they changed cutscenes in 2, but I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, it's in 3 also, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that I was just getting some weird emulation effect, but I'm pretty sure, that it's that just has film grain in it. And I think that's like that also is kind of because what's weird because you know what other game has a film grain effect? Mass Effect 1.
I was gonna say Mass Effect.
And in that game, I think it's really silly. I don't know why it's in there. But in this, it's like I did. In fact, when I replayed that game a year or two ago, but here I feels like it's so key to the thing that the way it adds just like a little bit of fogginess to even the more like that just feels really important to it, and it feels like such a key design choice in a way that like because there's also just the thing is like I don't know how you. Part of me is like I don't know how you make this HD.
And that's so every time I've played an old game, I recently yesterday, I bought a Game Boy Advance SP. Fuck you, Armor and M specifically. But games look so good on the little fucked up screen.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Right. Well, and I think that's just part of it is that it's designed like Silent Hill. These games are designed for an HRT, and so they're gonna look. But part of it, like I'm playing on a normal monitor, and
you
it's
said
just
an HRT.
I did say an HRT. Fuck off. CRT. What does CRT stand for? I know I'm showing my ass here.
Cathode ray tube.
Oh, okay, I did know that. Yeah, 'cause it's got the ray tubes in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm playing on a monitor.
Yes.
And it looks great.
Yes. That's the thing.
So that's sort of the thing is I just feel like they just did
running
the thing.
running it at original resolution. It does so much. Also,
whereas
I don't know, you need the blur.
Yes, you do. I do think I do think if you were to like properly remaster or HDify like Final Fantasy 7 or 8, I think something cool would come at the other end of that, right? And I'm not saying like those games look great on a CRT, right? I'm not out here being like it's superior, but I do think there's something that you get maybe out of, or like there's a different effect that would also be worthwhile,
Yes.
Just like how you can like 4K, an older movie and get something cool out of that, right? I think it's like, but like, I guess I don't know if you could 4K Blair Witch Project, right? And I think this is kind of the same thing.
They fucking 4K'd Attack of the Clones. They'll do anything.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's kind of more general stuff, Silent Hill stuff, as opposed to this specifically. But just that was kind of, I was just thinking about like the like weird singularity of Silent Hill as like a thing.
Yeah. The scene towards the beginning where you see a CRT and there's like 1 or 2 frames of Harry and nothing else.
Oh, it's good.
And the subtitle just says Daddy.
Yeah.
Mwah. A+. Thank you.
Yeah.
So good.
It's also an echo of that scene with the CRTs in Silent 1 in a cool way. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. It's so downplayed though. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, because it's just one. Like in the one, it's a much more dramatic effect, right? And in 3, it's a lot more missable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess part of it is I mean, this is just filled with stuff that I think is interesting, right? I like Heather as like a person who is also like 3 other people, you know, and who are also like kind of all existing at the same time, right? And then I like the sort of like, who am I and how do I like define myself against this like religion that is, you know, destroying, but also like enabled my life to be at all, right?
Yes.
That's obviously my shit. Okay. So there's the scene in the confession booth.
Yes.
With Claudia. What did you do in that?
My playthrough didn't say anything.
All right. So I said, I forgive you. Which I think that scene is, I mean, does, again, and I think this is sort of the evocativeness that I'm sort of kind of trying to gesture at, is like, in that moment, she is God. Right? Like, and she is the embodiment, right?
Yes.
For Claudia in this moment. And there's also some like kind of like timey-wimey stuff happening there where it's like, is this Claudia earlier? Right. Is this Claudia like, does she leave the room and then lock herself in this confession booth? Because you had a conversation with her like 5 minutes ago in the chapel, right? And she just locked herself in this room and like, and this is what she's doing. You know?
I read it as the woman from the first game.
Yeah.
She talks about like pregnating somebody and
that's true.
Forcing them to go through this process.
Right. So you mean the Claudia's mom then, or I can't remember her name, but I think that's like a viable read.
Dahlia Gillespie. Oh my god.
Dahlia.
My brain just vomited that out.
It's cool. You got it.
It was not in my brain 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good. I think that scene just works, and there's also sort of a because the way it works so we should talk about the endings a little bit here because I think it helps explain. So the original, so when you play the game the first time, there's only one ending you can get, which is the ending we described, and then there's the second. Then you can get a different ending, which is where you kill Douglas and stuff. And there's a bunch of like weird, basically every time you get hit and every time you kill an enemy, it accumulates points. But the single biggest thing you can do, and then if you're above a certain point total, then you get the second ending, right? But the single biggest thing you can do to get points is say, I forgive you to the person. That gives you like 1,000 points. Which is funny because actually I saw the point total at the end and I had like 2,800 points. So even with the extra 1,000, not even close. Right. I'd have to like kill a lot more enemies, I think, to get. But I think that's sort of an interesting thing where it's like, is that a moment? Is because she speaks? Is that like putting her in the sort of position of God, right? Or is it like what's going on there? You know. I think that's a great like moment that feels like you could make a big lore thing out of that, but instead it leans back and kind of lets you sort of tease out like what it means. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about? We sort of broadly discussed each of the characters.
I want to talk about the scene where you go in and there's a mirror and a tub. And it's good.
It's good. Well, also you just can't do it. You just have to like wait it out. Yeah.
Yep. Ugh. And then isn't it that your model on the other side doesn't move and then you can leave?
Yes. Oh,
that's good.
That's such a good effect. Yeah.
Yep.
I do think some of that set PC horror stuff, like some of it just really killed for me, and some of it was like the when you go on the merry-go-round and it's like all the horses are alive and you have to kill them. I was like, oh, okay, like sure, you know.
When those ladies show up though,
what ladies?
Those enemies on the
yes, the like clones of you. Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah, Twitter would have been horny for that.
Twitter probably is horny for it. But yeah, I mean, that's the stuff I think is like the sort of like there's also sort of there's the implication that like Alyssa wanted to birth God earlier, but now she doesn't, right? And so there's sort of like, is she, like, has she continued? Is she part of this person, or like, you know,
right?
And that stuff is cool, and I think it's also like it's such a, considering the like treatment of horror with like multiple personalities that's like throughout, you know, a bunch of things, and it's obviously can be really dehumanizing, and you know, all this kind of stuff. I feel like Silent Hill 3 has a very like comparatively like measured, you know, and very humane sort of treatment of
compared to 2 especially.
Oh yeah,
like the worst we get is like Heather is like, these people are fucking crazy, and I'm like, that's not great, but compared to 2, I don't know, she's doing pretty well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there was kind of a like, you know, they do believe in this like irrational thing, and like I think crazy is not the language that I would want to use, right?
No. But when she goes up and meets the father, and she's like, "I thought you were just like a dude." God.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I also like. I mean, this is again like a holdover from 2, but there's sort of an element that the town is like psychologically building around you. You know. Yeah. Oh, I also love the sound effect that it's in the opening of the OP.
Yes.
And then plays a bunch when Heather starts to remember the past, right?
So another thing that the remake messed up is that they didn't include that.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Yes. I can send you a cutscene afterwards. That scene where she meets her for the first time and
Claudia,
she freaks out.
Yeah.
Claudia, yeah. Nothing.
What?
It's such a good sound effect too.
It's so good, and
it's the motif of the game.
Well, yeah, and it's also like the way it is so, because there's that weird. I like the presence of the sort of because the equivalent to Pyramid Head. I hate to say this, because it's not really the same. But like the recurring enemy is like just this guy who like has this weird wheel and is like crawling around, you know, and that's what you see. And so then it's this image of him like on the wall, and there's these 2 like hanging women right above him, and so every time you hear it sound that summons the image, it's just this really like it's this evocative thing that like carries a lot of weight throughout the game, and it communicates a lot of thematic stuff that's like baffling that they were just like, yeah, we got to get rid of that.
I think it was more we couldn't find the files. You know.
Yeah, that is like
a lot of the stories with that, because they had like incomplete builds and stuff.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. It is. I mean, that's also one of the wild things. Is you'd think that, and I guess this is like the story of Konami to some degree. Is that like, you know, they're out here making the best this medium has to offer, and they're just like, whatever. Like, here's half a bill. Like, go make this, you know, again and mess it up. Yeah. Oh.
Here you go.
Okay.
Here it is.
Should I live react? Oh, there's a full.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if I can find that.
I timestamped it.
What the fuck? That's.
It's not there.
It's just not there. There's not even music.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
There's like the baby crying and stuff, but the music is not there. It's fucked.
Oh, that's so fucked.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, this looks worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just straight. And part of it's the YouTube, right, compression, that especially since I'm watching it, like, through a Discord embed. But, yikes.
Yeah. And especially it's in the... They put it before the love song in the OP. It's important. Just take the clip. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no, it's fine.
That's
it's
my
just...
HD collection tangent.
No, it's just depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's sort of the thing. I remember, like... I don't know. This is maybe getting a little too like broad, and obviously video games are evil. But like think about like the way, like if you watch like, I mean today still, but like if you watch like clips of Scorsese and like Brian De Palma from the 70s, and they're like, yeah, like filmmaking is like the great cultural treasure of like the United States, and we have to like preserve it and like care for it, you know, and like other people should like grow up and see these films and stuff. And I'm not saying there's like baggage with that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to be like, oh, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing to like unpack or work through there, but just like that there's like a care about the history of the medium, and like this like not necessarily like worshipfulness of it, but like this stuff is important and it like matters. And I just don't think like people think about this way about video games generally at all. And I think it's like
it's the top 100 game facts games of all time list.
Right. Like that's the closest we get to that kind of thing. Right. And
that like values quality over like quantity, and like what is considered good at the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's also so inflected by like mod, because this is also the way Silent Hill gets talked about, even though these are games that people really, really like, right, and that are, you know, well regarded and obviously very influential, but there's also sort of an element of it that's like, but you know, they're kind of dated though, right? Like,
right.
You know, like I just don't. It's baffling to me that this is the way we think and talk about it, right? That these aren't like
tank controls.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't necessarily be like, oh, film culture is so much better off, because I don't think it is.
No,
right?
I don't think it is.
But I just think there is like a thing there that it's like, oh, that's at least approaching something that I would like to have over here.
Yes.
In game hell, and
you can support a company that preserves films. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can get a Criterion subscription.
Yeah.
And generally, they're okay about it.
Right, or like, no, I'm forgetting the name, but there's a bunch of Vinegar Syndrome, which is like cult film preservation and releasing. There's like, and obviously there's like film preservation programs and stuff all across the United States and like universities and things. And like we're starting to get some of that with games that is like Internet Archive. Obviously, there's that like fucked up Embracer Group Museum thing or whatever that they're doing. That seems bad, but like, you know, it is in this camp broadly, right? And there's stuff like there's a actually really great, like, although this is more of a historical thing rather than a preservation effort, but there's like an LGBT archive, game archive. I think that does include links to some of like the first like Gay Blade and a couple other. I'm trying to remember what this. There's like this detective game that like, you know, like that are kind of the first 80s instantiations of like queer video games. So there is, I don't want to say that like nobody is doing this. Right.
But also, and I mean, this is also a problem in film too. Like, but like, you know, Frank Cifaldi can like upload a ROM of like whatever NES obscure bullshit game because they don't have stakeholders that care about it anymore.
Right.
Konami still copyright claims Silent Hill stuff.
Yeah.
If you upload a video, it's not getting monetized. Like,
right. Yeah, and that's part of it, is that it's like, you know, and this is also because I was thinking about like how weird it is that like I was thinking about Eisenstein, the Soviet filmmaker, you know, who did Battleship Potemkin and you know, 10 Days to Trick the World, 1918, bunch of, you know, very important movies, right? And Battleship Potemkin is like the one that you can find on streaming services, right? You know, and there's not really like a good physical version of any of them, right? And this is like true of a lot, not all, like obviously like there's plenty of Soviet stuff that is like pretty well preserved, and like, you know, there's a bunch of Criterion like Tarkovsky and whatever, right? But there's like a bunch of this stuff that's like really important, like early film, that is just not, like, that is kind of difficult to get a handle on. So this is to say that it's like, it's a big issue like across mediums. But it just feels wild that like even something like Silent Hill, which is so big and so influential and has so much money behind it, and there's just no care for it at all.
But they care enough to monetize people playing it in the current year.
Yeah.
But not enough to like preserve what is there. I'm sure they like, I'm sure they have a website where they have rerun copies of Silent Hill 2 and 3 or whatever on PS2.
Right,
But,
yeah.
or I guess they don't anymore because those games are shit expensive now.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, and that's
yeah.
also the thing that's wild is like if you want to play it, you know, if you want to play Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, or 4, I mean, a couple of them have PC versions, so you can try that, but you might have to mod them a bunch or whatever, right? And then you have the Etchbox HD stuff, which is obviously terrible. And yeah, anyway, we've gone off from Silent Hill 3 now.
Gone. Yeah.
But yeah,
But
but
there's
it's
not there's not crucially there's not a PS3 Metal Gear Solid pack. That you
no,
can
there
buy
is
and just
not.
have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
But yeah. Anyway, that's what one sound effect gets us.
Yeah, true.
Content.
But like, it's important. It's so important. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing is that sound effect matters in a big way. It's really important to what the game is doing. Boo. Oh. It's such a good because it's also man, just because I'm just thinking about the sound effect again because it's like the way it sort of has this echoey nostalgic quality. You know, that it almost sounds like a lullaby from a xylophone or something that has sort of this ting, but it's also so haunting. It's in and then the voice that the humming drone that comes in after this, and it's just all that together builds this very specific sonic thing that ties into the image, that ties into the way it's deployed in the game. And this is what craft is, right? This is the know that it's it just carries all this stuff over. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, I guess that's sort of the thing, and I guess maybe part of the reason I'm more positive on this than you is I find Heather to be such an interesting psychologically complex character, and that I think that it allows you to kind of read into a lot of the stuff that happens in the game. You know.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm talking about it, I'm more positive on it, but when I'm engaging with it, I'm just this could be better.
Yeah.
But, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing, is it's still better than a lot of video games, even if you're, I don't know, not to be, it's, it's just, it's good. Even, Final Fantasy 9, mid, better than a lot of video games.
It's better than Final Fantasy. Well, I would say Silent Hill 3 is better than Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I'm a hater, so.
Me too. Me also. But, but it's just to say that, Final Fantasy high batting average. First 4 Silent Hills, high batting average. Yeah. Oh, I meant to ask you this ahead of recording.
Yes.
But I was just thinking about our next game and how we want to handle talking about that.
Ooh. Yes. What are we doing?
I know what we're doing, but I'm wondering if we want to say it or not.
We're doing Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. It's Halloween, baby.
It's Halloween.
Let's go. Spookiest game.
The scariest game.
So what was your question?
Yeah, well, so we figure since that, I mean, I guess this is implicit, but we're doing horror stuff all the time. So we thought in October we might zig as instead of zag,
Yeah.
So yeah, Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube and 3DS.
And 3DS.
Lest we forget.
So here's the distinction I will say.
Okay.
Someone who original Luigi's Mansion I would describe as Resident Evil shaped, and I would describe Luigi's Mansion 3DS as 3DS shaped.
Sure, yeah.
So take that as you will. If you want the really good baked-in lighting and stuff,
right,
play
sure.
the GameCube version. If you don't care and just want to play it in bed, the 3DS version is fine by all accounts. But it's a very different vibe and art style.
Right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. I have not... I mean, I played a little bit of Dark Moon, the 3DS sequel, which is distinct from the 3DS port of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will be playing it on the GameCube. I'm
undecided, but I like playing things in bed, so...
I mean, the thing is, it's not
My
that long,
my
right? It's
3DS
like
is
3
full.
hours.
Yeah.
Man,
true.
that's gonna be great. This is the thing about this podcast that is so good. Is that like unless we play like Resident Evil 6, it's like 8-hour games are like
God.
the max. Which we won't.
And
do.
yet, it's still hard. It's still hard.
Yes, I'm
The
not
game club sometimes.
but yes, especially this month, Hell month. But not as bad as the like 2 days that Heather has in Silent Hill 3.
No. 2 days. That's wild.
Yeah, it's not that long, right? It's got to be like 2 days.
It has to be because she immediately breaks down thinking of her dad.
Yeah.
It's such a good choice.
It's good, yeah. Well, I think also kind of the like, because at the end of the game when she's like, when he's like, oh, you're going to dye your hair back. And he's like, oh, don't you think blondes have more fun and stuff? And it's just like, man, she's fucked forever.
Could not believe that the game ended like that.
It's a weird
like-
choice, but I like it because I think it's both like Heather is a really resilient person, and she's gonna find and she's like been through this really traumatic experience, and she's like hopeful that this won't happen again. But also, it's like this is still going to shape her for the rest of her life. Like I think it is like acknowledged. But yeah, it's very like it's the ending you would imagine it to have. It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre back of the truck covered in blood and being like and it swerves from that in a pretty big way.
Yeah, but specifically it uses like language around like reclamation of identity that I'm just like knocked on my ass. I'm
Right,
just like,
yeah.
Well, how did my trans reading get in here? Where did
Yeah,
you
no,
come
it's
from?
really in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, yeah. It's just good. I just think the way that like Heather exists as like a person who has had like a multitude of parental figures and then also is like that figure to herself and like, it's just good stuff.
I have expected her to walk up to Douglas and be like, "You're my dad now."
I love it's like Douglas is so great because he's like, what's the detective in Batman in the animated series specifically who's like the kind of like oh I'm a detective and I hate the Batman, and he's he's like a big hulking guy.
Is it Bullock?
Bullock, yeah, he's like Detective Bullock basically, and so I like him. But and also I love the stuff with his son. You remember this, I'm sure. When she's about to like go down to the end of the into the chapel basically, and he's like, yeah, my son like died shooting up a bank or like robbing a bank. Was killed by cops. Because he was trying to I don't know, he's trying to make money or something. Like I think that like little bit that he has this I don't know. Okay, this is also a thing. I was thinking about dad games. I guess you were also thinking about Last of Us. This is a dad game that like really takes in sort of a broad way, and it's also like, hey, this like the daughter is like a full human being, and she's gonna be treated like one. I think you cut out again, or something.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, my power went out because there is a hurricane.
Oh no.
I am still recording though.
Okay. Sorry if I like talked over you and whatnot.
You did not.
Okay.
I don't know what you were saying, but you did not.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I was just yelling about dad games and how Silent Hill 3 is a game that takes the like humanity and personality and humanness of the like daughter character seriously, which is pretty rare
For sure. Yeah. I have nothing to add to that.
Yeah,
Just
I think I'm about wrapped up too. I think this is also one of the things. Is I've been having a piece kicking around about Silent Hill and like Christian horror, and maybe so this maybe more to come from me and more thoughts and feelings about it. But but yeah, I think I've said what I want to say here and now. Thanks for. Yeah. I think this was a fun episode. I feel good about it. But if it's a little chaotic,
about it too.
So thanks for bearing with that, and bearing with the like full spoilers basically before we even get to the plot of the game.
It's okay. They know what they're getting.
Yes, yeah. If you're starting the podcast and you either haven't played the game or don't care to, then that you're playing with fire.
This is about the game.
That's what it is.
All right, I'm back on my laptop.
Okay, here you go. The audio quality just went up.
I'm back on my computer.
All right, but we should wrap up because we don't want to push our luck here.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have any emails? I guess we didn't really solicit any.
I didn't solicit. Well, Well, let me. Somebody might have.
Yeah, check, and we can answer those questions if there are any. And if not, please, we'll solicit emails for Luigi's Mansion, and then also be like, hey, if you want to ask questions about Silent Hill 3,
yes, of course,
go ahead. Yeah.
Hi, the saferoompodcast@gmail.com. Can you give me a few minutes? We may help you regarding a website redesign / upgrade, even development on your site, or maybe you're considering a completely new website. If you have any need for a website, please tell us. We'd be happy to send you our design proposal and past work details.
They have a design proposal ready for us? Maybe we should call these guys.
Already ready. That is okay because we are hosted on abnormalmapping.com. Check out the other shows on the podcast like Abnormal Mapping, the Game Club podcast, Grey Gundam Project, which is $1 on their Patreon. And also, if you like Twin Peaks, I will be recording a podcast with Jackson about Twin Peaks for VoIP Life, which is their $10 tier. You shouldn't sign up for VoIP Life if you just want to hear about Twin Peaks. But if you're already subscribed, you might as well listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to go up, but I'm recording that tomorrow with Jackson. So
sick.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you're feeling well and good while you do that.
By the time I edit this, no, I'm going to listen to it back and be like, damn, I had so much energy 12 hours ago.
Yeah. Well, it do be like that.
Yeah. And then you can find me on Twitter at BluestRose430.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Grace_machine. Also, I have a Patreon now. Again, this changed since the last episode. So yeah, patreon.com/Grace and the Machine.
Grace your money.
Yeah, please. Actually, I'm like, not to like do the whole thing, but you should give me money. It would be nice.
Grace is good. Give her money. She likes, good things on the internet.
Thank you, Rose. I hope you wouldn't come on this podcast and not like the things I write. That would be rude.
Marxism, what is that?
Yeah. So yeah, next time we're playing Luigi's Mansion.
I had to explain to someone why bragging about pushing a communist was bad optics for a queer dating profile.
Oh.
Anyway, until next time, see you later.
See ya.